Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, with our mission is to help change the world one person or one starfish at a time. I'm really excited for our guest today. By the way, as always, make sure to rate, review, share, all of that good stuff. But I'm really excited for our person today. Laura Infante is a dear friend. She's an amazing woman. She's been running a financial company with her and her husband for the last 6.5 years, and they are doing amazing things across Canada, across the US. 2 young boys and a husband, of course, kind of like a kid some days, I'm sure. But I just wanted to have Laura on. I've been requested to have her on, in fact, so I'm really excited to spend some time with you, Laura. Thanks for being on here.
Oh, thank you so much, Angela. And I am the one that is very honored and grateful. I think that when someone finds purpose and the things that they have gone through and decide to share with the world so that we can all together kind of create a better place, that's when magic happens. And that's exactly what you do. So I'm honored to put my little sand grain into the mix and be able to contribute a little bit to the big mission you have. So thanks for having me, for sure.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. So Laura, like I said, they've built an amazing business really fast. And one of the things I love that Laura talks about is success, coachability, stuff like that. So we're going to dive into some of that. This is something that I believe is a very strong suit of yours, and something you're very good to be able to talk about. So tell us a little bit about, like, what do you attribute, your success to, or seeing some of the people on your team or other teams or in other industries or entrepreneurship? Where do you think, like, what's the difference between someone that's successful, quote unquote, and someone that's not, in your mind? What's it separating?
So the first thing that I have noticed, and I'm going to try to relate this not only to the financial industry, which is where we have developed our business, but to every single thing, even in a job. I come from a 10-year background of human resources. So I have seen a lot of people, even in a job, that do very well and people that don't necessarily do very well. And when I was interviewing people, even for a job, like, I noticed those traits kind of were transferable from someone who's successful in a job and someone who's successful in business. So number one, I will say, have a positive attitude. Happy people are magnetic. And it's funny how happy people and positive people always end up landing like the best positions, the best things ever. And I remember when I was hiring people, I noticed that the people, when I was interviewing them, the people who had the biggest smiles and kind of like had a good laugh about themselves and were like relaxed and happy, those were the people that I wanted. Because interviews are a very stressful moment, but if you can take it with such a poise and happy outlook, I knew they were going to be able to handle pressure. And in the business world, same thing. If you're happy, if you're positive, and always see everything as a opportunity to learn, then you're going to do very well, because there's no way to knock someone down when they're always happy. Like, it's just no way, right? So, and now you might be thinking, well, you can't be always happy. Absolutely. But the ability to bounce back from a negative emotion to raise yourself to a higher emotion, that ability to do it quicker, right, is what's going to really position you in a better place to be successful in any area. Number two, other than being positive, will be people who are flexible. Jobs, and the same thing as having a business, you gotta be flexible. Even in a job, when you think like, well, I just have a job and these ones are my duties. Well, if that's all you're willing to do and all that you are willing to take on, your scope will be very limited. People will not consider you for promotions because you're not able to do more and become more, right? If you cannot do more, you cannot become more. So when I saw somebody in my previous career who had this position, but were willing to jump in and help other people, and they were able to adjust their routine on a daily basis, I was like, this person is going to be amazing, because it doesn't matter where you put them on, in what position and what level of responsibility, they're going to be able to be flexible and kind of take on more. So same thing in business, and you know it because you also have built something very big and you're very successful. Being able to change and adapt, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, we all deal with people. And in order for you to deal with people, you need to adapt. And now with COVID, we realize the importance of adapting to business, right? People who had a restaurant had to learn how to do a delivery and how to take orders through phones and things like that. people who were massage therapists. They had to learn how to and also go to homes, or people who used to give therapy like yoga classes or whatever. Now they do it online. So if you're able to adapt, you're flexible, you're going to be able to do very well in business. And the last thing that I will say, and I think that we will deep dive into that will be the ability to be coachable. Now, nowadays, being coachable is kind of a trend. Everybody wants to hire a coach. Everybody wants to be a coach. But I think that we are underestimating the power of coachability and what really means. Being coachable is not just to go and hire someone who tells you what to do. You can get a boss to do that. You can get your wife to do that, to tell you what to do, right? You can get your parents to tell you what to do. It's your ability to really dissect what is being said to you and apply the things that are important and relevant in a way that it changes you. That's the main thing. It's not only the application, it's not only being able to listen and apply it, but be able to let it change you so that it becomes second nature. So those three things, being positive, flexible, and coachable, I think that those ones are the things that I have seen in people that are really successful in any area.
Wow, those are so good. Matt, I'm going to have to listen to this again and take notes myself. This is so good. So a couple things that I can hear people asking would be, all right, that sounds fantastic. You touched on a little bit, like, how do you, you're not happy all the time. How do you get more positive? How do you become more coachable? Because like I said, that's where we want to kind of deep dive a little bit. How do you become more coachable? I don't know if you've always been coachable. I know I sure haven't, and what's helped you start to become more coachable, and how can other people, like, I get people ask me all the time, how do I be more coachable? And I'm like, it's a great question. So it's a great question. What are some thoughts you have on how someone's listening to this? They're like, I want to get to the next level. I want to step up these three things. What are some tips that you would give them?
For sure. First of all, I want to tell you that even if you're not in business, even if you have a simple job, coachability is very important, and it's going to rise the level of your life. It really will pay off, because if you become coachable, you're going to be able to lose weight, get in shape, eat better, like every area. You become a better parent, like whatever you want to do. It's all about how coachable you are. Because if you try to live life from the same level of understanding that you currently have, your life will stay at the same level in every area that you pretty much are. So if you want to raise your level of living in your marriage and your finances and your health, anything comes back to being coachable. So it's going to pay dividends if you learn how to be coachable. Now, this second thing that I want to mention is that no, I was not always coachable. And I don't think that anyone is. I don't think that we are born coachable. I think they're born and programmed to do what we are told until you are either old enough or financially free enough so that you don't have to listen to those people anymore. Isn't that right? We are not coachable. Totally right. We're just taught how to do things because we are told to do things. But in the back of our minds, we're always like, I hope that I can pass this grade so that I don't have to see this teacher again. I hope that I can become 18 so that I have to listen to my parents again. I hope I can get a promotion so I don't have to listen to this boss again. So it's always like that. And I think that that's why divorces happen nowadays, because we are not coachable. So we just like quit on things that are uncomfortable. So that's another thing that I want to mention is like nobody gets born being coachable. But how you become coachable. So the first thing you need to do, and that's what really made me want to become coachable and look for coachability, is you get a big sick and tired of your current level, whatever that is, whatever area you want to improve. It's not until you really are seeking a change. And I'm not talking a progressive change, because when you go to the gym, if you consistently go and you never quit, so that's discipline. That's not coachability. So discipline is going to take you somewhere, but it's going to be progressive. It's going to take you from 1 to 2 to 3, right? But I'm not patient. I don't want to go progressively. I don't want to be okay in terms of my health. I want to be awesome. So in the moment you realize that whatever you're doing is not going to get you the results you want and the time frame that you want it, that's when you need to be like, you know what? I need a coach. I need a coach. We are lucky in our business, in our industry, that we don't have to go and look for coaches. It comes integrated into it. But if you don't have a business or don't run a business like ours, go and find one. So, but the first thing is you need to be sick and tired of the place you are, and you need to dive into your life and be like, okay, in whatever area in my life I want to become better, for how long have I gravitated into the same kind of level? So health-wise, marriage-wise, financial-wise, it's been 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So you need to realize that it's been a while and you have tried and improve your habits or whatever technique. So it's time for a change, and that change is going to come in the form of a coach. Because then what happens when you have a coach is that you get almost like sucked into another dimension where you can see yourself from a higher place, and you can identify things that you won't be able to see. A problem cannot be solved from the same mindset that created it. So you need a coach. So number one, you need to be sick and tired of the place you are. This doesn't mean that you suck. It doesn't mean that if you want to improve your health, that doesn't mean that you are in bad shape. It just means that you want something different and you want something drastically change. You don't want to see the progression. You want to see explosion, right? So number one, get sick and tired. Number two is, once you do that, you need to create a vision that is big. You need to create a vision of how you're here and how you want to be here. And that vision has to be very clear, okay? You gotta be able to almost see it and touch it. So if I'm talking about business, let's say you have a business, but it's just like a hobby right now, you're being gravitated towards just doing a couple of things here and there, it stayed like that for about 2-5 years, whatever it is, or if it's your health, then you need to be like, this is the level that I want to be at by this time. And it needs to be big, because if it's not big, Angela, you're going to start negotiating the price. And I'm going to tell you right now 3 things that stop people from being coachable, and that will answer this little piece. But if your vision is not big enough, you're going to be negotiating the price. It's not going to be worth it to make the changes that your coach is asking you to do, because your vision is so limited that you will start negotiating like it's going to be uncomfortable. Making those changes is going to be uncomfortable. So if your vision is not big enough, if it's not something that really excites you enough, there's not going to be a point for you to change, right? Your coach can be like barking at your ear and you'll be like, it's not worth it. It's very uncomfortable. I don't want to do it. And you negotiate the price. So if it's, let's say, something about getting in better shape, go and find someone who at your age is looking amazing, or at your current health condition is looking great, has a great vitality, looks great, has a great health life. Because if you see that person, you're going to remove the excuses for yourself. You go and find a 20-year-old that looks so hot and so ripped, you're going to be like, yes, but she's 20, she has no kids. You're going to start giving yourself excuses, right? So you got to go and find someone who is relatable to you and who is kicking your butt, so that there's no more excuses. Like for me, if I go and find someone to compete with, and then that person has been in the business longer and they, have rich friends, I'm going to start negotiating. I'm going to be like, yeah, but you know what? They speak very English. They were from here. Da, da, da. No, I had to go and find someone who was just like me, that actually made it with even less resources. If you can find someone who's actually came from even like a lower point, it's even better. So we did that when we started our business. My husband went and found someone in the States who was from our nationality, who came from nowhere, who already had achieved a high level of success in our industry. And then I was like, holy, I can't have any excuses, because they came from almost the same background, but with less skills, less resources, and they're kicking our butts. So that removed the excuses. And I started to create a vision of the life they have, the incredible milestones they have achieved, and the time frame they were able to get it. So again, you gotta go and get sick and tired of where you are. Number 2, create a vision that is so big, that is relatable to you, so that you don't negotiate the price. And number 3, you got to put your ego aside. So the reason why people are not coachable, there's 3 reasons. Number 1 is because an ego thing. You think that you're better, you know better, you can do it better. So when your coach is telling you things, you're like, yeah, you're just listening, but you're like, yeah, no, they don't know. I'm going to prove them wrong. Why would you want to prove them wrong? Number one. But anyways, so it's an ego thing. Second reason why people are not coachable is maybe it's not ego, but they have a small vision. So they know their coach is right. They understand, they believe in them. They don't have ego. But it's uncomfortable and I don't want to change. So that happens it's very common with people who sign up for a gym. They don't have an ego because obviously they are not ripped and they are not like health like coaches either. So they don't have ego. They don't think that they can do it better, but they just want to lose a couple pounds. So the freaking like pain of going to the gym and sticking to a routine and have sore muscles is just not like enough of a vision for them to make the sacrifices. But what about when someone is dating someone? That's a big vision. Oh, I'm going to date this person. I'm dating this person. I'm going to look good in a bikini when we go like to Mexico. Oh, if I can get married with this person, we're going to look so good. So the vision keeps getting bigger and bigger. And then you don't negotiate the price because it's a big vision. It's fitting into a dream that you have that is very important for you to achieve. And the third reason why people are not coachable, maybe it's not ego. Maybe they have a big vision, but sometimes it's a lot of lack of confidence. They just don't think that they can do it. They do want to. They have these big dreams. They believe in their coaches, but they're like, it's just not me. It's just not me. I'm just so little. I'm just so inexperienced. I'm just so small. I'm just so undisciplined. And if that's the case, in that case, the coach has to be able to see that and start pouring into this person more and more and more and more, because that's going to help their coachability level once they start believing that they can actually do it.
Wow, that's so good. I'm just like, this is so good. I'm taking notes. I'm thinking in my head, like, what do I got to do? Because I've been working on the fitness thing. So this is really interesting. I'm like, up the vision there. That's really cool. And so you also talked about, like, while you're doing all this, keeping a happy attitude. So sometimes we do the work on the outside, but maybe on the inside, because I know of personal experience, maybe we're not so like joyous to do the work. What's something that helps the internal actually change instead of just going through actions? Do you know?
That's a great question. So, and again, every time people will describe me as I'm a little chihuahua, very excited, always like bubbly and all that. But the reason why I'm able to speak with confidence about what you just asked me is because I was not programmed to be a happy person, and that's okay. So in this part, I'm going to be very serious about it, because I want to tell people that most of you are in the wrong impression that if something comes easy to you, is natural to you, then that's good. But if it's not natural to you, then there's nothing to do about it. That's wrong. Actually, when things don't come naturally to you, it's a skill. It's an advantage, because then you are going to have to work to get it, right? You're going to have to develop it in a way that then you can teach it. The reason why I'm able to teach many of the things that I'm telling you right now is because I was not naturally that way. So I had to train myself to become good at it. And then I'm able to share that and people relate, and I can give skills and tips and tricks to people that actually have worked for me. So the reason why I can talk about on happiness levels and all that is because I was not programmed but to be happy. I was raised in an environment with everything was about not screwing up, because if not, you were punished. So I was not trained to go and be bubbly and happy all the time. I was trained to be always like, super critical about myself and things like that. So if that's you, don't discount yourself from anything, from leadership, from winning, because it's those things that you didn't get by default that you will get to work on that will help you develop others and guide others. So in terms of happiness, I'll say there's so much out there right now about brain rewiring and tips and tricks to change your habits, that somebody who can tell me right now, no, this is the way I am and I can't change, you're totally wrong, because everything you you need to make a major change in the way you live, is already out there, and it's in a form of a podcast, a book, YouTube, a course, right? So go and upgrade yourself. We upgrade phones, we upgrade computers. So why don't you go and upgrade your life? And the way to upgrade your life is going and upgrade your thinking. So the things that work for me, I need to level myself every single day. So I spend an hour in the morning or more just being grateful and reading and getting good things in here, so that my natural programming gets override by the things that I intentionally put in first thing in the morning. So I'm going to give you three things that I do that help me, and I think they can help anyone else. And this is the things that I teach my boys, my two boys. The other day, I always ask them to tell me 3 things they're grateful for. This is something that I do, and they have to do it. And my oldest told me something that blew my mind. He said, Mom, I'm so grateful that you always ask that, because gratefulness to me is like shining a light into my life to realize how good it is. And I was like blown away. It's like he referred gratitude as a shining light. They just like makes everything better, right? It makes him focus on the things that are good. So to me, what I do number 1 in the morning is gratitudes. So what I'm grateful for. And I really dig deep, and I try not to repeat things, because if you repeat things, then they don't get you excited, because it's things that I grateful every day. So it's like, I'm grateful for family. No, what about your family? I'm grateful for health. What about your health? Right? So to me, I go like, so grateful for my mom. I get to kiss her every day. For so many years, she was back in Mexico and I didn't get to hug her. Now every day I can just drive 5 minutes and have coffee with her, and just like describe this moment that made me almost like tear up, and gets my heart to create more hormones, because everything is also chemical. So all these feelings, well, as I'm saying it, and I'm saying, as I'm reviving the moment where I did not have her and now I do, just makes me really excited. And I know the chemicals in my body are working, because I start to get all teary, and that means that it works. Number 2, so is gratefulness. I think about my mom. I think about my business, but I really dig deep into something specific that day, or they happen either that week, or something that is different from the day before. That gets me really excited. Number 2, what I do is I try to put something that is good, either a book or a podcast, because I don't know why we become magnets of the things that we need. If you think about it, many times I have read a book that I actually needed that day because something terrible happened, or something came up that I didn't expect, but what I read that day or a few days before was exactly what I needed in that moment. So life has a way to just show you what you need and provide you what you need, if you do believe that that's the way it's to be. So you need to get those ammunitions in your mind. So I read, or I put a podcast, and then answers will be there for me to act on it in a better way, in a wiser way. And number 3, I work out. So to me, I'm a very physical person. I'm very passionate. So that's good, but also so bad, because it makes me more reactive. And I have learned to love that. I used to criticize myself by being so passionate. I thought that was not good. It had to be like, zen and like all the time. And I thought it was going to be detrimental to my team and to my business. But then I realized, no, it's good. Passion is good. But I had to tone it down, and a way to tone it down and kind of release more happy passion, and also much like intense passion that is going to scare people away. I work out. So I get all my energy out, all of these we are our energy. So I don't know if you have noticed, when I have a little lake outside of my house, and when dogs are fighting, once they stop fighting, they will ruffle their feathers. That's something that they do so that they get rid of the extra energy they didn't use in the fight. So they let go of the negative energy.
Gotta start shaking more.
Yes. Yeah. So what I do is I go and work out, and I get rid of all that bottle up energy that sometimes when you are going about your day and something all of a sudden happens, you have the tendency of release this energy that you bottle up, right? Because there's so many things, especially if you're an entrepreneur, that come at you. You have all this bottle energy because you can go and react to people every time that you're hit with something that you didn't expect. So you bottle it up, bottle it up, bottle it up. If you don't release it, it's gonna come out in the worst moment possible. So I work out every morning, let it out. It's good and allows me to think. This is a phrase that I love. The smaller pots are the ones that boil first. The smaller pots are the ones that boil first. So I don't want to be small pot. I don't want to be boiling every time someone talks to me and something goes like the way that I didn't expect it. I don't want that. So what I do is I release that energy because I want to make room for the good things, for the new things, so that I can become more and I can give more. So those ones are the things that I do and they work.
Those are really good things. I love it. And how old are your boys again, Laura? When people are listening to this, they're not very old.
No, they are 9 and 7.
9 and 7. And this is the kind of stuff that they're getting taught and they're learning, which is so cool because that's our next generation. So yeah, I'll have your kids listen to this podcast and maybe they'll do some gratefulness stuff with you too, which is super awesome. So I don't want to take, we're not going to be here all night. That's for sure. Though I can tell this could go on forever and ever. But I'm going to have a few final questions I always ask. And then like just some final things that you would like, if someone ran into it, a Starbucks or coffee shop or whatever, and they said, hey, Laura, you're doing some awesome things. What are some tips that you could give me really quick that you haven't shared that you think I should know? We'll go into that as we wrap up. But 3 final questions I always ask. Number 1 is someone's looking for their purpose. A lot of people are always looking for their purpose. We talked about that kind of a little bit at the beginning. What's one sentence that you would say to help them find their purpose?
That's a great question. So go and find the common denominator of the struggles you had in life. You will find your purpose there. They always say, wherever you feel pain, that's where purpose comes from. That's where passion can be found. All the things that you had to battle with, and then you conquer, even if there were small wins, those ones are the things that you will be able to teach, you will be able to talk about from experience so that others can conquer them too. So to me, whatever, I had a rough childhood and those battle wounds gave me a lot of strength. So now I use that to help people and I have found purpose in that. And I think that you can relate to the things that you are battling right now, that has given you your purpose. So whoever is trying to find their purpose, go and dig deep into the wounds and scars that you have from your past. And I assure you that you can find purpose there.
Oh, that's really good. I love that. Number 2, now there might be more than one, but which one comes to mind right now? What's your favorite quote and why?
I love, and I just talked about it recently. It says, the tragedy of life is not that we die. It's not death. It's the things that we let die inside of us while we are living. Oof. Yeah, that gives me a lot of urgency every day to just make things happen because I don't want to die with my gifts and with my purpose inside.
Oof. That's a good one. And number 3, what is one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
I always say I don't want the end of my life to end like a book where it's like, and she lived forever, happily forever after. I want in my gravestone to say, and she became everything God created her to be.
Oof, I like that. These are so good. All right. And is there anything, if you ran into someone that we didn't touch on, that you're like, this is something, people should hear either about coachability, success, whatever it is that you kind of want to leave for a final thought?
Yep. It will be 2 things. Number 1, start now. Start now. Whatever it is, whatever your dream is, whatever you always wanted to do, start now. Because there's people out there, Angela, that are more skillful than you, that have less resources than you, that are still making it happen just because they decided to start. So start now. And number 2, don't quit. Because if you quit, whatever it is, your health journey, your entrepreneurship journey, your marriage, don't quit. Because if you quit, you will never become the best version of yourself. You will never become the best version of yourself if you quit.
Start now, don't quit. So good. Those are very good ones. I love that. As always, make sure to rate, review, share, tag us. We'll have show notes to reach out to Laura on Instagram or wherever else she wants to send. You reach out to her. Feel free to ask questions. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Our mission, as always, is to change one life or one starfish at a time. If we change one life today, we will start to change the world. Thanks so much.
Bye.